What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. What I'm going to be doing today is going to be a sous vide sirloin tip roast. To prepare this, I'm going to be using my Avalon Bay immersion circulator, and I am going to be seasoning with Tango Spice Company Porchetta rub. I'm going to leave links to both of these companies in the description below. Anyway, as far as this sous vide technique goes, what we're going to be doing is cooking this in a water bath. I read some of the instructions on cooking a roast this size, and it said I can go anywhere between 10 hours and 48 hours. I'm going to probably have a chance to let this go for about 14 to 16 hours. And the beauty of cooking sous vide is we're going to go ahead and dial the temperature in on this immersion circulator, and the water will not go above that. So the chance of you overcooking your meat is going to be almost 0%. Now I'm going to be cooking this I'll probably be using this for sandwich slices or something like that, so I don't want it to be too rare. I'm probably going to be shooting for somewhere in that medium rare to medium range. So we're going to be cooking this at about 140 degrees. Anyway, first thing I need to do to get this going is I need to go ahead and get this roast seasoned up. So let's start with that. Now, when it comes to seasoning, at this step in the process, you don't really have to worry about over seasoning it because most of this is going to fall off in the bag. So this is just going to kind of be there to infuse flavor. We're going to season it more down the road. Anyway, here's the spice that I'm using, that Tango Spice. This is some good stuff. If you're into spices, run down in the description and check that company out. So we're just going to go ahead and hit it. If you'd like, you could go ahead and hit this with some olive oil or something like that, but I don't really think it's all that necessary. Now that we have both sides seasoned up, we're going to go ahead and get it in our vacuum sealed bag. Alright, so we have this sealed up. I did throw some fresh rosemary in with our sirloin tip. Now it's just time to get it in this water bath. Now we have our roast submerged in the water. You could use a pot like this. You could use a crock pot liner. Just anything that is going to be sturdy enough to hold the water. Let's go ahead and get this started. So I'm going to hold on to this button for about 3 seconds. And that's going to bring up our screen. Now we're going to go ahead and set the temperature. I'm going to want to go at about 137 degrees. And I'm going to set my timer for, let's just set the timer for 16 hours just to be safe. I probably am going to fill up this water at least one time during this process. Let's start. Another tip is I did go ahead and use a clip to clip this bag to the side of the pot so it won't float around, and it'll kind of hold the meat down as well. So we're about 6 minutes away from this going the full 16 hours. Now I said I was going to be cooking this to make like some cold cuts with, so we're going to kind of do something a little bit different. If you wanted to eat it like a roast, what I would do would be pull this out of the bag. Now I did have a glass sitting on top of it just to keep it submerged, and I did add water once before I went to work this morning. Alright, so we're going to pull this roast out. Now, what I would do if I was just going to be having a roast as opposed to cold cuts would be I would remove it from the bag, kind of pat it dry, add a little bit more like olive oil or something to it, season it up, and then sear it off in the oven. Since we're going to be doing cold cuts with this, what I'm going to do is let this come to room temperature. Once it comes to room temperature, I'm going to throw it out in the refrigerator. It's going to sit out there probably another 24 hours because I'll be getting home about this time tomorrow. Then we're going to sear it off, and then we're going to get our meat slicer to it, and then it's going to be a wrap. This has been in the refrigerator for about 24 hours. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of this bag, drain off the liquid, let it come to room temperature, and I'll see you back. So here's what our meat's looking like after we drained all the liquid off. It seems like enough of that seasoning is still on this, so I'm not going to go ahead and add any more seasoning to it. I am 100% deciding to slice this up for like sandwiches, so I'm not going to be searing this off. I'm going to throw it in the oven at about 400 degrees for about 5-6 minutes aside, just to kind of brown it up a little bit. So here we are after being in the oven for about 5 minutes aside. It's still a little bit moist, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this rest for about 20 minutes to let that seasoning set. Then we'll get out this slicer and get slicing away. This is a wrap right here. Here's kind of what this is looking like. So nice pink inside. Like the way that looks. Let's go ahead and fire up this meat slicer. Oh yeah. Alright, so this is about as much as I'm going to cut right now. Let's go ahead and get on with this taste test. What I'll tell you is that sous vide technique will not allow you to overcook the food. This looks like it was cooked exactly the way I wanted. Let's get in and see what the flavor is all about. You get a little bit of that rub flavor, but what's really coming through on this, that rosemary, it feels like it kind of really got penetrated into that meat. The rub is only, you can only taste that on the outside portion of the meat, but it does have good flavor. This is awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the refrigerator. This is gonna be for some lunches next week. Thanks for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. Sounds like my dogs wanna go outside. Comment, subscribe, I'm out.